First-class ticket. Impeccable presence. But when Cassandra stepped up to the counter, she wasn't welcomed. She was asked to step aside, dismissed, threatened with security. They thought she was just another easy target. They had no idea. She held the power to bring the entire system to its knees. With just one call, Cassandra froze the airport, grounded the flight, and triggered a full federal investigation into the airline. But for her, this was never about revenge. It was about justice, and about a simple truth. Respect isn't a privilege. It's something every person deserves. The airport terminal buzzed with morning chaos wheelie bags, boarding calls, distant espresso machines. Cassandra adjusted her suit jacket and stepped into the first-class line, her heels clicking confidently against the polished floor. She held her ticket in one hand, phone in the other, calm, efficient, as always. Next, the check-in clerk called. Barely looking up, Cassandra approached, handing over her passport and first-class boarding pass. The young woman glanced at it, blinked, then frowned just barely. "I'm sorry," she said slowly, eyes narrowing. "This line is for first-class passengers." Cassandra smiled politely. "I know. That's my seat." The clerk, her name tag read. Emily gave a tight-lipped smile. "Sure. I'm going to need to verify a few things. Could you step to the side for a moment? Is there a problem?" Cassandra asked, brows slightly lifted. "It's just a routine verification," Emily replied, her tone light but clipped. "Shouldn't take long." Behind Cassandra, a white man in golf attire approached the desk. "Morning." He grinned, tossing his ID on the counter. "Just made it. Group 1. Yeah, Emily lit up. "Absolutely. Sir, let me get you checked in." Cassandra stepped aside, watching the man get waved through without pause. Her eyes narrowed slightly. 5 minutes passed, then 10. She cleared her throat. "Excuse me. Has something come up?" Emily didn't look up from her screen, still verifying. "You'll need to wait. I've got a meeting in New York this afternoon." Cassandra said calmly, "I booked this flight weeks ago. I'd appreciate an explanation." Emily finally looked up, her expression shifting a practiced smile that didn't reach her eyes. "Sometimes bookings don't process properly, especially when they're made through third parties. I booked directly through your site." "Well, systems can still be glitchy," Emily said, voice flattening. "Look, you'll be on the flight. Just please wait." The man in golf gear now sipped a mimosa at the lounge entrance, smirking in her direction. Cassandra's jaw tightened. She turned toward the second agent, a gray-haired man at the next counter. "Excuse me," before she could finish, Emily interjected sharply. "Ma'am, I've asked you to wait. We're handling it." The second agent looked up, confused. Cassandra stared at her, pulse starting to rise. "This isn't about the system," she said, voice steady. "Let's not pretend." Emily leaned forward slightly, her voice quiet. "Ma'am, if you continue to create a disturbance, I'll have to notify security." Cassandra blinked. "You think I'm a threat because I asked why my verified, paid ticket is suddenly in limbo. I'm asking for your cooperation." "No," Cassandra said softly, taking a breath. "You're asking for my silence." The air between them crackled. From behind, someone muttered, "Geez, just let her board." Another voice whispered, "What's the holdup?" Emily straightened, smoothing her blazer. "Please return to the waiting area." Cassandra didn't move. Not yet. Something shifted in her posture, a calmness, controlled, but undeniable. And then, without raising her voice, she reached for her phone. The screen of Cassandra's phone lit up. Her finger hovered just above the call icon. But she paused. She looked at Emily again. Really looked. The clerk's jaw was tight now, her arms folded, defensive. Cassandra lowered the phone without dialing. "This could have been a 2-minute process," she said quietly, But here we are. Emily gave a tired sigh. Ma'am, I've asked you to wait. I'm not going to argue. Cassandra tilted her head. You already are. Mark, the shift supervisor, appeared from a side door with a tablet in hand. Middle-aged, rumpled tie, exasperated expression. He didn't even glance at Cassandra. Emily, he muttered. What's the issue? She's refusing to cooperate. Emily said quickly, claiming discrimination. Cassandra blinked. That's not what I said. Mark turned to her, already annoyed. Ma'am, do you have a ticket? Cassandra held it up. Steady, first class, confirmed, no bags to check, no alerts. I was simply asked to step aside while passengers behind me were processed first. Mark looked at Emily. Is the system flagging anything? No, she admitted. But her attitude, my attitude, Cassandra repeated. Softly, incredulous. You made me wait while waving through half a dozen others. You never explained why. And when I asked a question, suddenly I'm a problem. Mark's posture stiffened. All right. I need you to lower your voice. She's not yelling. Someone behind them muttered. Mark ignored it. We can resolve this. But if you continue escalating, Cassandra's phone buzzed in her hand. A call from her assistant. She silenced it. I'm not escalating. She said, I'm standing in line for a flight I paid for. That I arrived early for, dressed professionally, presenting proper identification and a confirmed boarding pass. I didn't raise my voice, I didn't use profanity, and I sure as hell didn't lie. Mark's face flushed. You need to step away from the counter. Now. A teenage boy nearby nudged his mom. Why are they doing this to her? His mother looked away. Cassandra took a breath, measured, steady, but her eyes burned. I'm not going to stand here and beg for what I already earned, she said, turning slightly to address the growing line. This isn't about a policy. This is about perception. Security's on their way. Emily muttered. Several heads turned. Cassandra let out a single breath of laughter, not amused, amazed. Security, she echoed. That's the solution. Mark shifted uncomfortably. Ma'am, we just need you to cooperate. Cassandra looked at both of them. Emily and Mark like she'd already weighed and dismissed whatever apology might come later. No, she said calmly. You need to understand something. She finally dialed. The air seemed to freeze. No one spoke. Even Emily leaned back. Suddenly unsure, Cassandra placed the phone to her ear. Activate code Zulu 1, she said into the receiver. Confirm authority. Immediate review of all flight operations at LAX. Effective now. Mark blinked. What the hell are you doing? Cassandra didn't answer him. She didn't need to. The voice on the other end spoke so clearly it could be heard faintly through the speaker. Confirmed. Director Owens. Immediate suspension protocol engaged. Stand by. Emily's face went white. Cassandra ended the call. A beat passed. Then a new voice rang through the terminal PA system, calm. Robotic. Attention all passengers, Flight 784 to New York has been delayed due to operational review. Further updates forthcoming. Please remain in the terminal. Gasps. Murmurs. Phones lifted. Conversations halted. Mark looked like someone had pulled the floor from under him. Cassandra set her phone down on the counter gently, then met his eyes. Now I'll wait, she said. Across the terminal, two men in suits suddenly paused mid-stride, hands to their earpieces. Within seconds, they were moving fast, coordinated, splitting through the crowd like quiet thunder. Emily watched them approach with wide eyes. Mark, she whispered. Who are they? Mark didn't answer. He was too busy watching the terminal lights above flicker, then go dark for a breath before rebooting in emergency blue. Passengers began murmuring. Flight info screens blinked, then reset to in review. From the side gate, an airport operations officer jogged up. Breathless. Are you Cassandra Owens? He asked, eyes locking on her. I am, she replied, voice calm. The officer nodded. We were instructed to bring you to Command Suite 3 immediately. You've been granted access. Emily turned pale. Wait, what? What's going on? Mark's voice was tight. Command Suite. Yes, sir, the officer said without looking at him. Federal level override. We're under suspension review. Cassandra adjusted the cuff of her blazer, picked up her bag, and looked at Mark and Emily one last time. You asked me to step aside, she said, so I did, and then she walked away flanked by federal staff. By the time Cassandra disappeared down the secured hallway, the terminal had changed. The man in the golf shirt was no longer lounging. He stood now, confused, watching as 3 TSA officers swept through the terminal, questioning gate staff. Phones were out everywhere. Someone had just uploaded a video titled, "They denied a black executive, now look what happened." It had 12,000 views in 5 minutes. Back at the desk, Emily was shaking. This isn't real, she mumbled. She can't do this. Who even is she? Mark didn't answer. His phone rang. Buzzing angrily on the counter, he answered, Operations. This is Mark. A cold voice responded on the other end. This is Federal Oversight Division. Why was Cassandra Owens detained at your gate? Mark froze. We didn't detain her. Do you deny she was delayed? Questioned. And threatened with removal despite holding valid first-class credentials, Mark's voice cracked. It wasn't like that. There was a misunderstanding. A pause. There will be no misunderstandings in the report. Prepare to surrender all security footage and employee statements. Full compliance required within the hour. The line went dead. Emily stared at him. Mark, what did we do? Mark didn't look at her. His hands trembled slightly as he removed his lanyard. She wasn't just first class. He said quietly, she is the one who decides if we keep our license. And for the first time that morning, the panic on his face was real. The security doors slid open with a soft chime. Director Owens. A voice greeted her before she'd even fully stepped in. A woman in a tailored navy suit approached. Firm posture. Sharp eyes. I'm Dana, Federal Liaison for LAX Oversight. We're fully operational on your command. Cassandra gave a small nod. Her tone brisk. Where's the footage already pulled? Playback is live on Station 2. Cassandra crossed the room, her heels tapping over polished tile. The atmosphere was cool, clinical, efficient. On the screen, the check-in counter, Cassandra, Emily, Mark, every word recorded. Dana watched Cassandra's face. We've flagged violations across multiple levels protocol. Profiling, misconduct under Title VI, want us to escalate? Not yet, Cassandra replied, eyes still on the screen. Bring me audio first, Dana signaled. A speaker clicked on. Emily, if you continue to create a disturbance, I'll have to notify security. Cassandra, you think I'm a threat because I asked why my verified, paid ticket is suddenly in limbo. Dana winced. I don't raise my voice, Cassandra said softly, almost to herself. But they only hear one tone. The junior analyst from earlier approached again. Tablet in hand. Director, trending videos just crossed 80,000 views. Someone tagged your name directly. Cassandra looked up. Time. Less than 18 minutes since the call. Dana stepped closer. They'll try to spin it. Say it was a misunderstanding. A technical issue. Cassandra's gaze sharpened. They already had their chance. She turned to the lead technician. Suspend gate agents Emily and Mark. Full internal lockout. No contact with any staff or external comms until federal review concludes. Yes. Director. She sat. Posture straight. Eyes clear. Let's document this, she said. In full. I want every second. Every smirk. Every pause. I want the truth, not just what they tell the press. The door to the private lounge clicked shut behind Cassandra. Inside, 2 men in dark suits rose from leather chairs. One of them older, sharp-eyed, stepped forward, offering a firm nod. "Director Owens, welcome." Cassandra acknowledged him with a slight incline of her head. He gestured toward a waiting chair. "Please, have a seat. I'm Daniels, Senior Operations Compliance." "And your role here?" Cassandra asked, voice even. "Effective immediately. Under Protocol Zulu 1. I'm acting liaison between federal oversight and terminal management." Cassandra sat, crossing one leg over the other. "Good. Then let's not waste time." Daniels nodded once. "Crisp. Your authority has been verified at the highest level. As director of the Civil Aviation Oversight Board, you have full jurisdiction to suspend, audit, or sanction any airline operations within U.S. airspace as necessary." Emily's smirk, Mark's narrowed eyes, the dismissive looks, they replayed behind Cassandra's calm exterior. "I assume," she said quietly, "you're aware of the incident leading to my invocation of Zulu 1. "We've seen preliminary footage," Daniels replied, "and ma'am, no authorization needed beyond what was already captured." A second agent, younger but equally tense, added, "The airline is already scrambling. Corporate legal is trying to make contact." Cassandra's lips pressed into a thin line. "They'll wait." Daniels nodded grimly. "Yes, ma'am." Outside the thick glass, the chaos of the terminal continued to churn, but inside this room, authority had shifted completely, and Cassandra was holding the pen. Cassandra leaned forward slightly, voice sharpening. "I want full access to gate surveillance for the past hour. Audio, video, facial logs, uncut." Daniels didn't hesitate. He snapped his fingers. The younger agent moved to a wall-mounted terminal, typing fast. Within seconds, the main screen filled with thumbnail video feeds. Daniels pointed. "Gate 14. Pulling it now." Footage rolled. Cassandra approaching the desk, smiling, Emily glancing at her ticket, then subtly rolling her eyes. Cassandra said nothing, only watched. Audio crackled through hidden speakers. "Maybe she's confused where she's supposed to be," Emily muttered under her breath. Mark's voice followed shortly after. "Keep it polite, but don't rush her through. Let her wait." Daniel's jaw tightened. The video continued showing Mark's arrival, his instant siding with Emily, the tone growing sharper, the language colder. Another agent stepped closer, frowning. "Ma'am, it's clear cut." Cassandra's voice stayed calm, but the anger beneath it was undeniable. "I want this footage backed up 3 ways," she said. "Local server, federal cloud, external encrypted drive. Already in progress." The young agent confirmed. Cassandra watched as Emily pointed her toward the waiting area, lips pursed in fake sympathy. "They thought perception was enough to bury fact," Cassandra murmured. Daniels nodded grimly. "Now, fact is all that matters." Cassandra sat back, watching the damning video loop again, and somewhere deep inside her, the part of her that had carried 1,000 silent slights before today, finally started to breathe. Cassandra didn't waste a second. She leaned toward the command desk. "Initiate full internal review. I want a detailed incident report. All employee actions logged. Submit the file directly to the Secretary of Transportation's office. Mark it urgent." The lead officer nodded briskly. Tapping at the console, red banners flashed across the system. Commands fired off automatic pings. Summons. Flagged emails. Within minutes, the dominoes fell. Mark's inbox flooded with demands. Immediate compliance required. Submit your statement. Security footage retrieval pending. Emily's phone buzzed again and again. HR. Corporate counsel. Upper management, every ping slicing deeper into the pit growing in her stomach. Gate agents whispered behind counters. Supervisors huddled near closed doors. Tension thickened the air like smoke. In the control suite, Cassandra sat still, her expression carved from stone. She didn't gloat. She didn't celebrate. She simply made sure every step left a trail no one could erase. They built a system thinking no one would ever call them on it. She said softly to no one in particular, "Today, that system was collapsing under its own weight, and she was making sure the collapse was recorded in full." A knock came at the glass door. Mark stood outside, wringing his hands, his lanyard gone, his shirt rumpled like he'd aged 10 years in an hour. The officer inside glanced at Cassandra. She nodded once. "Let him in." Mark shuffled inside, clearing his throat awkwardly. "Director Owens." "Cassandra." Look. This was all just a big misunderstanding." She raised an eyebrow. Silent. Mark fumbled on. "Emily didn't mean any harm. She made a judgment call. Maybe it wasn't the right one. But there was no bad intent." Cassandra's hands folded calmly in her lap. "Intent," she said quietly, "doesn't undo impact." Mark's mouth opened, closed. "I swear," he said, voice cracking. "We didn't know who you were." Her gaze sharpened. "That's the problem." "Mark," she said, voice like steel under velvet. "You shouldn't have to recognize someone's title to offer basic decency." Mark shifted his weight. Desperate. "Maybe if I explain to the review board, you'll have your chance." Cassandra cut in, standing slowly. "In writing, under oath." Mark's shoulders sagged. He tried one last time. "I swear, we didn't mean to cause trouble." Cassandra's voice was soft but final. "I didn't misunderstand anything." And with that, she turned away, leaving Mark to face the consequences he thought would never come, inside a small briefing room in Washington, D.C. Cassandra sat calmly at a polished oak table, a microphone clipped to her lapel. Across from her, the Secretary of Transportation leaned forward, hands folded. "We owe you an apology," he said bluntly. "On behalf of the department, and frankly, on behalf of this country." Cassandra offered a measured smile. "Apologies are easy. Change is harder." He didn't flinch. "We've mandated comprehensive bias and conduct retraining across every major airline operating domestically. And, per your request, there will be no private settlements. Full public disclosure." "Good," Cassandra said. "Sunlight's the best disinfectant." A brief pause stretched between them. The secretary leaned in slightly. "If you're interested, there's an open deputy secretary position coming up." Cassandra chuckled softly, shaking her head. "Right now, I just want to be a passenger, nothing more." He smiled back. "You earned that." As Cassandra gathered her things, her assistant, a sharp-eyed young man named Evan, stepped closer. "Director," he said, lowering his voice, "there's a press conference outside. CNN, Reuters. They're waiting." Cassandra hesitated, then glanced toward the side exit. "I'm not here for cameras," she said simply. Evan hesitated. "They're calling you a hero." She paused at that, then turned, voice low but certain. "I'm not a hero. I just refuse to be invisible." And with that, she left through the side door, the way she came quietly. Later that day, at LAX, the terminal hummed with its usual morning buzz. Cassandra returned, this time dressed casually in jeans and a soft blazer, rolling a single carry-on bag behind her. No first-class ticket this time, no VIP treatment, just another traveler among thousands. As she approached the check-in counter, a young man mid-20s, nervous but smiling, waved her over. "Good morning, ma'am," he said warmly. "Can I see your boarding pass?" "Please." She handed it over. He checked the system, nodded, then looked up with a genuine smile. "All set. Welcome aboard. Ms. Owens, thank you for flying with us." No hesitation, no second guessing. Just simple, human respect. Cassandra smiled back. Thank you, as she walked toward security. A voice from behind caught her ear low, but clear. She's the one. A woman whispered. She's the one who made them change. Cassandra didn't turn around. She didn't need to. Her stride was steady, her head high. Change didn't always come with fireworks and applause. Sometimes it came in the form of small victories, a simple smile, a respectful nod. A doorway opened without suspicion. She made her way through security, the sunlight spilling across the tile floors ahead, and for the first time in a long time, the path in front of her felt open, final lines closing tone, as her plane lifted off the runway. Cassandra leaned back in her seat, the city shrinking beneath the clouds. She closed her eyes, a soft smile touching her lips. Today, she wasn't just flying toward a destination. She was flying toward a future she helped build, not just for herself, but for everyone who ever stood quietly at a gate, waiting to be seen, and this time, nothing could stop her.